Okay guys, got the one side sewn up, and just like on this, at where the buckle is, I did the little loop there. That's just to strengthen that up and to hold that together. And then I sewn all the way down here to about here. That's about an hour's worth of work, so that isn't that bad. But one of the things I wanted to show you, and I'll bring the camera down actually to my level, and it'll be easier to show. And then when I go and I stitch this side and I show you guys how I do my stitching. Cat's finding treats or something up here. That way I can actually do a better job at showing you how I actually do my stitching and stuff. I'm just kind of going through. It came out actually looking pretty good. I got the pattern down for the most part. In this new camera view I'm going to do, well, I did it once before this one, I think. You're going to get a better view. I'm going to bring you actually down desk size, so you kind of got from this direction looking on. And then I'll start my stitching. You guys will see how I do that. And then when I wrap up at here, because I'll have to start, since this is going to be my face and I'm right-handed, the face is going to be on this side. So I'm going to wrap up with this part where that tack is. One thing I didn't see when I was doing this side is I got blood all over the place. I accidentally caught myself on one of the tacks here, and I didn't realize it until I saw blood on the end of the table that I was bleeding. So I got a little blood on the product. Maybe bleeding to the leather guides will help it out. So switch camera view and I'll show you guys from there what exactly I'm looking at and everything. Okay guys, this is the work up close. You can see how all this has turned out really good now. There's that tack I've been talking about. See if I can get it to focus. So there's that tack I've been talking about. And the stitching, like I said, on this side, I came around to tighten that up, kind of like on this piece. I came around, tighten that up on both ends. It really gets that in, and you can see that the side has been done up and that side's been done up. So basically what you try to do is you try to get that zigzag pattern, and for the most part, because of the way this is going and it goes into a groove here, you don't see it, but you kind of do see it. It really shows up here. That's the pattern you're looking for as it goes through. Now here, I got when I was doing the leather, I didn't have the knife cut exactly the way it's supposed to, or held exactly the way it's supposed to be, so that's kind of a blemish in my workmanship there. But you see how here, go like this, the stitching, let me get an owl here quick. The stitching here comes in at the bottom and goes to the top, in at the bottom, up to the top, in at the bottom, in at the bottom, up to the top, in at the bottom, up to the top. And then it follows that around. It does that same pattern up here. And then you can see it go all the way along. Now this here is, I had enough thread to get to this point, so I had to come back, add more thread, and that's what that is. That's my tie up. And since this is the back side, I wasn't too worried about that. And then that's where you do your back stitch, basically. So I've got the stitch here that's back stitched also, and then it comes to the stitch here that's back stitched also. And then the front of it looks like this. And this is untapped leather, so I haven't tapped it down to flatten it out or rubbed it out or burnished anything on that. The edge isn't even burnished. So that's an untouched edge so far. So you can see how that goes. And once I flatten that out, that's going to definitely change up a little bit. You can see the different tooling and the basket weave in there and all that. I tried to get as good as possible going through all of that. Keep it all straight and nice and even. So that's what all that looks like. Now when I do the other side, I'll show you how I have my bench all set up for doing that kind of thing. And how I do the stitching pony and all that. But I'll come through and I'm going to stitch up this top side now. And get all that done. And come through. And then I'll pull out this. I'll pull out that. And here we'll go with this. I'll pull out the tack and we'll get that all straightened out there too. But it's going to be about an hour, so I'm going to show the start and I'll show like the middle where I switch up, and then I'll show the end. I'm not going to do a whole hour long video just on stitching. That's going to get really, really boring. But let me get set up real quick and I'll have all this ready for me to start stitching. I'll show how I do my stitching. Now, like I've said before though, there's so many different ways to do this box stitch that I've seen people do. So as long as you do it the same way every time, every stitch, it'll actually come out. So give me a second and I'll be right back.